Okay, hi again, Lauren. I'm just finishing up our review of your exam one here. So we had stopped and we were moving into question 25. So here we are at 25. And let's see. Basically, what you have wrong in 25, where did I do 25 at? Oh, right here. So the zeros are just 0 and 3. You don't say there's two roots at 3. And that's what you did. You said 0, 3, and 3. There's only one root at 3. It just has multiplicity 2, which you have correct down here. So really you did everything correct in this problem. So you had a 0.8, so I increased it to 1. Let's see, 26. Did you do 26 anywhere? Did I write it anywhere? Let's see. So 26 on this problem. So we want to use this function. Notice you can factor this as x squared times x squared minus 4, which is the same as x squared times x plus 2 times x minus 2. I'm sorry, x squared minus 16. So x plus 4 times x minus 4. So you got the roots right. And you know that x equals minus 4 and 4. Those are zeros where it does cross the x-axis because they have multiplicities of 1. X equals 0 has a multiplicity of 2, right? X squared times x minus 4 times x plus 4. So the x squared because 0 has a multiplicity of 2. Okay, which zeros does the graph of the function turn around? That would then be at x equals 0 because it has a multiplicity of 2, and so you didn't put that there. The y-intercept, you just have to evaluate f of 0. F of 0 is 0. I'm not sure what happened here, how you got minus 16. But the bottom line is that that score should be the same probably because of the mistakes you made. And I didn't see any work. All right, so that's 26. 27. It's right here in your notes. It seems to me that time might have been the issue because you had it set up kind of right. You got to remember to have these placeholders. Since it was 2x squared plus 3, you need to add in there 0x. Otherwise, you're going to not have the right placeholders when you're going through it. But other than that, you had it set up right. You just didn't do it. So you answered nothing. So my guess is you're running out of time. But because you had it set up right, I did go from 0 to 0.2. And then 28 is the synthetic division, which you did all correct. Everything here is correct. You just didn't remember that you had this remainder term because you didn't add the remainder term to your answer. It wasn't a 0 here. So if it was 0, there would be 0 over x minus 2. But we have a remainder, so you should have 168 over x minus 2, which you didn't write that remainder. You just wrote up to 81. But it did change it from 0 to 0.85 because you did almost everything correct. That remainder term is important though. And let's see, 29. 29 and 30, I guess maybe it's an issue. You kind of almost wrote I don't know what the A is here, but minus 1 point plus 5i, right? That's the second term I have written. And then if you have a root of 1 plus 5i, we know that if we get imaginary roots, they always have to incur conjugate pairs. So that's 1 minus 5i. It would be the second root. So you got to make sure that you have that in there. Then when you do all the algebra, it eventually simplifies down to a3 times x cubed plus 2x squared plus 18x plus 104. And then you use this thing, f of 2 is 156. So you plug in f of 2. You see that's equal to 156a3. But that's supposed to be equal to 156, which tells me that a3 is 1. So what's left here is the function that you were looking for. Okay, but I did go from 0 to 0.2 because it seemed like you had worked on these. You kind of knew how to set this up. It's just you didn't get very far on it. And the same thing on 30. The problem with 30 is you just wrote answers that didn't make sense to Descartes' rule of signs. So I really couldn't give you any credit for this. But Descartes' rule of signs says you look at f of x, and if there's any sign changes, sign, right? So it goes from a positive x cubed to a positive 9x squared, no sign change, to a positive 2x, no sign change, to a positive 1, no. So there's no sign changes, which means there can only be 0 positive real roots. Then you look at f of minus x and simplify it first to see if it has sign changes. So that's minus x cubed plus 9x squared minus 2x plus 1. So there's from minus x cubed to positive 9x squared is one sign change. From positive 9x squared to minus 2x is another sign change. And from minus 2x to 1 is. So that has three sign changes, which means it will either have three negative real roots, or if I have two imaginary roots, it could only have one negative real root. But that's what the cart rule of sign says. Okay, so that's the review of your first exam. You really are doing fine. I know you could do better, but I know you've had a rough go of it personally with everything going on, but you're doing fine. You have a B minus B in the class right now. I know you can do better if you can get down into focus and spend the time you need to, and I think you'll be fine, Lauren. All right, ask me if you have any questions, okay? Bye.